if you want to integrate your shadow, if you want to become complete, be nasty. So now today we get to see the root of this concept, because, Jung says that the Red Book was the place where a lot of his academic ideas came from, and we get to see Jung confronting this part of himself that perhaps he later conceptualized as the shadow, and it's very, very fascinating. And people really struggle with this concept, but it's actually not too difficult when you watch movies. Movies are the answer to everything. And two movies particularly that really, really show up what happens to Jung here is Fight Club and The Matrix, because what we have in Fight Club and The Matrix is the typical hero's journey. We have a character stuck in a rut, in a corporate hellhole. We have Jack in Fight Club, and he's, insomniac, depressed, hates his life, stuck in the rut. Then we have Neo in The Matrix, hates his life, bored, stuck in the corporate rut, working in the office job. They literally dress the same in both of them, and they wish that their lives were more interesting and had more meaning. But you see, they're comfortable, so they don't really want to break out of that. Jack, in fact, is comfortable so much so that he needs literally for Tyler Durden to come and bully him out of his life, to literally seduce him to take a leap forward and evolve and change. And the thing is that Jack's stuck in this rut, Neo's stuck in these ruts, and in order to pull him out of it, it's almost like he's stuck in a reality, a matrix, if you will. He's stuck in this way of being, this whole mode of being. And Jung is quite similar. Jung is obviously an academic, trying very, very hard to be a serious scientist, something that his whole life he struggled with. He was afraid to, the Red Book only came out in like 2002 because he was afraid of people finding out that he was kind of crazy, and wrote down the sentence, if you want to be complete, be nasty. And so this is something that he is perhaps struggling with, and he's been caught up in that scientific paradigm. And what happens is, in Fight Club and in The Matrix, you have Tyler Durden that starts to flicker. And it's not an immediate thing. It's not like Tyler Durden walks up to Jack and sticks out his hand and says, "Hello, I'm your shadow. And if you come with me, I'll help you integrate, and then you'll be complete." And Morpheus doesn't do the same thing either. And it's the same with Jung. Jung doesn't start by the deep spirit appearing to him, being like, "How are you doing, Carl? I'm here to upgrade you. I'm here to individuate you there. So if you like, come on with me and we'll get started." It's not like that at all. It's this gradual flickering in. The Red Book starts with Jung churning out a load of abstract thoughts as his philosophical mind, even you could say the stuck in the rut mind, the sort of abstract rationalizing left brain mind that's that he's used to operating in. He's writing all this stuff out, and it's almost like charged by these weird emotions that you can only detect through the text he doesn't write about at all. But now what we start to see is that he starts to flicker, he starts to crack. What happens now is you start to see actual dialogue with this deep spirit, with this part of himself that seems to be moving him, almost like an emotion has come to him and is starting to move him, like a spirit of some sort. The same in Fight Club, the same in these films. What happens is Tyler Durden starts as a flicker, only a hint, only a whisper, never really an embodied being. And then gradually throughout the film, he becomes more and more present. He goes from just a flicker that you barely notice to a moment, a dude is like crossing across his vision, and then finally on the airplane, Tyler's there. And Jack is talking to him. And then Jack goes and invests his life in him. And the same with Neo in The Matrix. Neo is getting all these hints. He gets a phone call from Morpheus, and he doesn't even take it. There's these hints, these suggestions, these pushes. Take a step out. But he doesn't go for them. And eventually Morpheus finds him and faces him and confronts him and makes it happen. And that's when Neo has to take the red pill and go all in on this reality, go all in on this belief. Now, one of the most interesting aspects of this, and we're going to talk about the left brain and the right brain in a moment, is how this deep spirit, this Morpheus, this Tyler Durden, is almost like acting as an update. Because, Jack and Neo, they're stuck in their rut, and they don't actually want to be in it. You don't want to be in your shitty life. Like, you don't want to be caught in your bullshit. You want to have a meaningful life, but you're comfortable, so you'll refuse to get out of your comfort zone. And sometimes you get so stubborn and so lazy and so pathetically stuck in these ruts that you need to get punched in the face in order to get out of it. That's what literally Fight Club does. It's like fighting to wake you up. It's bringing you down into visceral, vibrant, and alive reality. And so Jung's stuck in this sort of scientific paradigm, and he's stuck in this rut. And this all happens to us, and we're going to talk about this later. Like, this is literally a tragic reality of human life, is that this is going to happen to you a lot throughout your life. And you get stuck in this rut, and then what happens is, you want to escape, but you can't because you're too lazy and you don't want to change anything. And so what will happen is, part of your mind, it's so weird, part of your mind knows that you need to change. And we'll talk about that more in a bit. Part of your mind knows that you need to change, so it will send you little hints. Maybe your conscience will be like, don't do that there, boyo. Don't do that. Cork conscience, like, don't do that there, boyo. Or maybe it will pop up like on your laptop. You might have a little update. It's like, we need to update this computer there, sir. And you're addicted to Twitter, you're addicted to your YouTube and all this, you're addicted to the way things are, you're stuck in your zone, you're caught in your dopamine spirals, and this little update comes and you're like, click, it's like, never, remind me later, no, then remind me in a year or something like this. And so, get off my screen now, I'm on Twitter. And it's the same in your life. Someone might walk up to you and be like, hey bro, maybe you could, try this. And you're like, oh my God, get out of my way. I'm on my path, man. I'm on my path of comfort zone and laziness. I've got cake to eat later. Like, leave me alone. I've got TV shows to watch. And then it will leave you alone for a bit, and then it will kind of come back. Maybe the conscience inside you, maybe someone from outside in the world, or maybe the laptop update will pop up again and be like, hello, sir, you really should update your computer because, just do it. And you're like, what? Get out of the way again. And you ignore. And then eventually the laptop, in its eternal wisdom, it will decide, all right, this guy is being a tyrant. He's addicted to Twitter, and he won't update the computer, and the computer's going to crash. So it will just freeze one day. Should be on Twitter, and you'd be like, listen here, right? If you want to be complete, you got to be nasty. And then it'll just freeze halfway through the word nasty, and it will say, sorry, sir, we're going to update the laptop for the next 36 hours. Could you please find something else to do? And you'll start writhing from dopamine withdrawals on the floor because you'll need Twitter. You go in and you'll like beat your mum up and be like, I need Twitter on this laptop. Give me your laptop now. You'll freak out, and so you'll take over. You'll turn into a tyrant as the laptop will force you to have your update. It'll force you to have your crisis. This will be your crisis moment. You can think of it like the midlife crisis meme. What's going on there? Someone gets in a 40-year rut, and then what happens is they have this break where the super laptop, the right brain, the deep mind says, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to update this fool and show him what's going on. And this is literally this sort of archetype of all these stories. You have the guy stuck in the corporate job, and then the interesting life comes to him. And Jung is the exact same pattern. Jung is the archetype of the guy sort of stuck in whatever rut he's in, the thinking dopamine spiral mind, and then he gets the update. And the update, the laptop update, the notification that appears to him is coordinated by this thing called the spirit of the depths. It's a very, very interesting concept. And so it turns around to him and it says, it sort of gives him these emotions you can see at the start. And so Jung's trying to write it down. Jung's trying to document it down in an abstract way, so he feels he understands it, so he feels he's in control, because he doesn't want to go, of all things, he doesn't want to give in to an emotion and let the emotion lead him, because that's schizophrenia. That's an emotion outside yourself, and you're going to give your consciousness over that, and you're going to let it talk to you. You're going to let a voice inside your head make you see things. Dude, that's the madness that I've been trying to teach to treat people with. I'm not. That's not happening to me. That can't happen to me.